is.
There
That's
it is.
the actual amp.
The reason there isn't another one is because Alexander hand-built all of them himself.
That's what I was going to ask.
For the guy. I plugged into it and I'm like, whoa, this is what I've been looking for, you know? He didn't like mine, I didn't like his.
It's the same model.
That's amazing.
The Dumble Overdrive Special
Amazing.
from Alexander.
We had a play. You're not going to have a Dumble set in the room and not have a play, right? So we had a play, and
I don't think I've even seen one in real life, you know.
actually, if you can wrestle this thing to the ground, it will actually make you a better player.
Yeah.
You got the guitar, but you also have an amplifier.
Sure.
And those two things were one, you know?
I don't know what to say.
Well, let's crack on. Welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here.
Robben Ford here.
Welcome, everyone. This is the second video we are lucky enough to make with Robben. Robben, thank you.
My great pleasure.
In the previous video, we would have seen Robben's up-to-date rig with his little Walter amp, but Robben was generous enough to bring this, the fabled Dumble Overdrive special amplifier that has been synonymous with you since 1983.
Yeah, yeah. And Daniel was willing to carry it.
I rue the day when I'm not willing to carry a Dumble down a flight of stairs. No.
But four?
So to put it in context, this has been on every major release since then. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, the Talk to Your Daughter album was the debut. It was my first real, I mean, that's not true. The Inside Story was my first solo album.
Yeah.
And, you know, after making that record, and that record was made with about 5 different amplifiers. It was all, I had a 58 335 I was using in those days. But I just went through this long patch, you know, before I found the Dumble amplifier. And so the Talk to Your Daughter album was really the place where it was featured. Grandiose.
And that opening. Wow.
Lots of questions about that. We'll hear it more as we go on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people associate the sound of Dumble in general with the sound of that record.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the interesting things is as time went on, it sounded cleaner, it sounded less compressed. It's almost like you were using it in a different way as time went on. Is that fair?
Yeah. Partially, I would say, because I started moving toward a cleaner sound, you know?
Right.
Just started more relying on the boost and just being louder via the boost. And, you know, footnote, which you guys I'm sure know, you know, the boost basically just bypasses the tone controls.
Yeah.
So that's the amp,
Right.
you know? So I really moved more and more towards that, and also the Telecaster.
Yeah.
You know, coming to play the Tele more and more, I liked the sound of the Tele just boosted. You know, this treble pickup is awesome, bright, and sounds just flying out the door. You know, so I think that's a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
The Talk to Your Daughter album is very unique in the way the guitar, I think, was recorded.
Yeah.
And it also was placed right up front.
Yes.
So that's something that wasn't really so much the case on other records. I've always been I'm a band guy. You know, I like bands and I want to hear all of the instruments and I want them to sound like they sound live, you know. So I sacrificed, you know, I wasn't thinking about it. It was just a natural progression of mixing, you know, making the records, mixing them, hanging with the other dudes, the blue line, you know. And it was like, that's the way the records turned out. But the Talk to Your Daughter album was, it was the recording of it was kind of more done out of my ignorance in terms of recording.
Okay.
And the engineer's notions of the sound and how to record it. He really did something there that is unique.
Yeah.
The sound of the
man.
the guitar sounds huge.
Yeah, it does.
It's incredible. We were lucky enough to have the Dumble here for a couple of days before we filmed today, and we had a play. Well, you're not going to have a Dumble set in the room and not have a play, right? So we had a play, and it was astonishing being in a room with that amplifier and little bits. Obviously, you know, we didn't have the source,
Yeah.
but there's the elements of that touch sensitivity and the breakup was unmistakably that amplifier.
Yeah.
You know, that we're so used to hearing.
There isn't another one.
No. So can we? One of the things that
To
people talk
clarify,
about.
you know, the reason there isn't another one is because Alexander hand-built all of them himself.
That's what I was going to ask
for
you.
the guy.
Yeah. So
That's the next question.
That
Yeah,
was what I was
yeah.
going to ask you.
Okay.
How? So that relationship, Alexander saying, "Tell me what you want to hear," and then him going away and going, "Here it is." How did that work?
Well, I think you guys probably know. I've told the story several times over the years, but Alexander used to hear me play with my brothers, which was known as the Charles Ford Band, named after our father, who was not in the group.
Right.
And I was playing through a Fender piggyback Bassman. It was like a 1963 Fender piggyback Bassman, blackface. And he used to see us play all the time. He would come to our gigs. I didn't know him. I didn't know that he was there or anything. I hadn't a clue. And he just told me, you know, I heard something that I wanted to, you know, explore and expand upon. So he started modifying Fender Bassman heads. And the Dumble schematic, the basis of the Dumble schematic is the Fender piggyback Bassman head from the early 60s. So me looking for an amplifier, and finally I came to know a fellow you may have heard of, Andy Brower. He was like, he rented vintage gear
Right.
to studio musicians. So he had vintage, you know, Strats and amps and everything.
When's this?
That would be
period is this?
1981, 2.
Okay, so even then, there was still a thing with studio musicians looking for older gear. Okay.
Well, you know, I think everyone knew by then that, you know, vintage just sounded cooler.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing.
I think so.
Yeah.
But Andy was way ahead of the game. And I bought, we were talking earlier about that 57 Strat that I used to play.
Played with Miles. Is that the Strat with Miles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, what is seen on the Montreux video and all that.
Yeah.
I bought that guitar from Andy and he regretted it. But, so, you know, one day, might have been the first time I met him, I'm not sure. But he said, "Robben, you should hear this amplifier because I think you're really going to dig it." And he had an Overdrive special head, gray kind of velour,
Yeah.
leather, faux
Yeah.
leather. I don't know. And I plugged into it, and I'm like, whoa, this is what I've been looking for, you know? And of course, it had his Overdrive in it, and it was an Overdrive special. And so I would rent it from Andy whenever I had a gig. And I had a little single 12 cabinet that I would use. I would rent his amp head until I could finally, afford the money to buy one. And so I got in touch with Alexander, and we met. And I still don't remember to this day. I don't think he told me that day, because it was later that he told me. He said, well, Robben, actually, I got the idea for the Overdrive special hearing you play with your brothers in Santa Cruz through a Fender Bassman. And I'm like, well, no wonder. Somehow the amp was built with me in mind,
Wow.
So, and that began a great relationship with Alexander, that, we always, had a good feeling together, and I benefited so much from him. Like I just he gave me my voice, kind of, in a way. He kind of did, somehow, because it's electric guitar, man. You got an amplifier. You got the guitar, but you also have an amplifier.
Sure.
And those two things were one.
Do you think he understood the way in terms of electronics where he could help you bring that voice forth?
It's insane. It is. I mean, there may be others, but I haven't met them. He was a genius with that. He absolutely was a genius. And I'll tell you a little story.
Please.
I went over to his house many times, but I went to his place one day, and I mean, it was just amplifiers, tubes, boxes, guitars, everywhere. There was not, like this much clear walking space behind the couch, and that's it. Maybe this much on the end of the couch, so that you could kind of get in and out. And he says, "You want something to drink or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love some water." So we start walking to the kitchen, and it just kind of hit me, like I was just in wonderment about, wow. And I didn't say anything, and he's in front of me, walking that away, not looking at me, but he just goes, "It's called living your craft, Robben." And I'm like, wow, you are the man. He told me that he would finish amplifiers and he would buy parts rather than food. Wow. He wouldn't eat.
Wow.
Dumble died, in poverty.
Did he?
And being cared for by a great cat who took care of him for many years. He didn't have a credit card. He didn't have a bank account. He didn't even have a social security number. He was like off the grid.
Wow.
No way.
So there was no method of, I don't know how people paid him. Of course, you paid him cash, actually. That's the way you paid him. But then all of that money straight back into the amplifiers, man.
Wow.
That's
I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know most of that, actually.
Yeah.
It's
this wonderful guy. His name is escaping me right now, but this man basically took care of him for the last 5 years of his life. Like paying bills and everything.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the guy could have been a multimillionaire easily.
Yeah.
But he said every time he tried to get somebody to make something for him, he said the quality control went down.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's called living your craft, right? This is what he says to me. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And also, he said when he's gone, that no more Dumble amplifiers, and he did not pass along the technology. Nobody, no apprentice. There's nobody going to make another Dumble amplifier.
That's heavy.
It was very heavy.
It was heavy when we walked in here. Now, yeah.
I'm sorry if that's too much information.
It kind of brings it home, and I think the reason it brings it home is because everything we know about Dumble is fifth hand.
Yeah.
Somebody has told somebody who has told someone else.
Yeah.
It becomes a Chinese whisper.
Mhm.
But to hear it from the
Yeah.
horse's mouth, so to speak,
Yeah.
firsthand,
Yeah.
is quite the thing. How long did it take from the moment you said, I'm going to have a Dumble amp,
Mhm.
to this being made and you being happy with it? Was it a back and forth?
I don't think I had any problems with it when he delivered it.
Right.
And he delivered it pretty quickly. Other people waited years and never even got them. You know? But it happened pretty quickly. As I recall, you know, it wasn't a long wait. And
He'd probably been building yours from like the first gig he saw you. Like,
yeah, I mean,
this is good. Yeah. Wow.
he knew it already, big time.
Yeah.
And his genius was like, not those tubes, those tubes.
Right.
You know, not those capacitors, those capacitors. You know, not that wire, this wire. You know, all and that. You know, capacity. You know, like every. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And again, I know you've talked about this a lot over the years, but it is the case that they're all quite different, right? So you've played others over the years and they're quite different from yours, even though it's the same model.
The Overdrive special. Do you want me to tell the little Larry Carlton story
that'd
again?
be great.
Please.
Okay. So Larry and I have done a lot of, we went through a period where we did a lot of gigging together, you know, touring the world. And we were in Korea and we were at sound check. And he walked over to me toward the end of sound check and he goes, "Can I plug into your rig?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He plugs in, he plays a little bit, and he just goes, "Sounds good when you play it." So not impressed, you know. And I said, "Can I play through yours?" And he goes, "Of course." And I walked over and I plugged into his rig and I started playing. And I'm like, It's like, I didn't like it. He didn't like mine. I didn't like his.
But it's the same model.
That's
of
amazing.
The Dumble Overdrive special
Amazing.
from Alexander.
So if we can slide from Larry Carlton to me and Dan and Jake and Charlie, we played Robben some of the footage. Robben very kindly said we could invite a couple mates in and play it. What did you hear when you heard us play the guitar? Which is the most preposterous question I've ever asked.
I felt like I was almost hearing myself. I mean, seriously, you know, all you guys sound good, you know, and you played chords, you played lines, and it's like, there's the sound, you know, that I feel is the amp, you know, like I can't lay claim to, you know, all of that, you know, there's a lot in that amplifier, you know, that I heard when you guys played. I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was identifiably your amp.
To me, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's far out. Okay.
I mean, if somebody would have said, "What do you think of this?" I would have said, "Wow, it sounds a lot like my amp." I wouldn't have been positive, but had I not known.
Well, I think what's left to do is for you to play a little bit, please, Robben. It is a trip to have that guitar here
Man.
and this amp and you, and it's
All right. Play a little bit, eh?
yeah.
The short delay, Daniel, is that? loud.
Oh my God. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just ruined now.
Ruined.
Dare we ask him to hear the Zendrive?
Yeah, we ask.
Can we please, just for a minute? This is never going to happen again.
All right. Are we sure?
Oh man.
Viscerally amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. There you go, people.
Boy, did you hear all that low end coming out of those on the
Hear
treble
it.
pickups?
Feel it.
Yeah, right.
That cabinet is I mean, the whole thing
Yeah.
is extraordinary.
Yeah.
But the cabinet is extraordinary.
Yes, it is. Never played through anything as good as that cabinet. I mean, people will say that, if you want that sound, that, and if you want that sound, you go with that. If you want that sound, you go with that. And that's absolutely true from a recording point of view, I would say. Capturing, because of conditions. But good is good, and great is great. Incredible is incredible. I don't know. Has anybody ever said anything about an incredible Marshall cabinet, for instance? Like that cabinet is incredible. Have you heard people say that?
I haven't heard incredible.
Yeah, I know people who prefer 1-4-12 over the other, but
But that's a configuration.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's not a speaker cabinet.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because that thing's alive. I was telling you about this guitarist Daniel Donato. I produced that record, right? Mm-hmm. And he, of course, wanted to hear the Dumble at some point. I brought it down for him to try it, And he plugged into it, and he played a little bit, and he goes, "It's like a person." I was so happy that he said that.
Yeah.
I hadn't even had that, thought, but it's like Alexander.
Yeah.
It's Alexander, like right there. Incredible. So it's it's alive. It's kind of alive.
Totally. Wow, mate. I think
I need to lie down.
Yeah.
Maybe a
cup of
cigarette. So we say thanks to Robben.
Yeah, mate.
Links in the description
Amazing.
below.
Thank you. Incredible.
Check
great
out.
pleasure.
Please
My
check
great
out
pleasure.
Robben Ford's guitardojo.com as well. Links below. I can't say any more words. I think. Thank you.
I think we're done.
Welcome.
Is all we have left to say.
Amazing. All
My
right.
pleasure.
See you,
Cheers,
folks.
everyone. Bye.
Cheers.
There it is.
There
That's
it is.
the actual amp.
We're filming a full show with Robben, but he has very kindly said, well, before we do that, why don't you guys have at the Dumble and see what you think? Which is properly crazy.
Bonkers. They go for crazy money now. They're rare, but they are, lots of our heroes have played them, right?
Yeah. So we want to get into a little bit of that today. And to do that, we've got a couple of friends. We'll let them introduce themselves as we go along. So it's not just me and Dan blasting through it, but blast through it we will. I don't know what to say.
Well, let's crack on.
Hello, I'm Jake Loosemore. I'm a professional guitar player. I've known Dan and Mick since pretty much the beginning of time, it seems. I've played 2 Dumble amps before. I've played one in Nashville, which was, I believe, an ODS. I think that was serial number 222. That was an amazing amp, and I played that one for a couple of hours. The other one I played for literally about 5 minutes at a guitar show once, so I have no idea what that one really sounded like. I'm expecting this amp to sound and feel sort of like a lot of the cliches based on the ones that I've played before. The one that I played in Nashville in particular was quite dark, but also still very clear. The notes had quite a lot of front end compression, and the whole thing just sounded, a lot like all of the stereotypes would suggest. It was very, very, it really was that Fender amp on steroids thing.
Hi, I'm Charlie Allen. I'm a guitar player based in London. I don't think I've even seen one in real life, I've heard they are supposed to be really true to what you put into them. So whatever you play, you hear. They're very exposing, apparently. But other than that, no real expectations. Other than that, I'm incredibly excited. Look at it.
I'm Daniel Steinhardt, and I'm half of That Pedal Show. No, I haven't played any Dumble amps before. I'm a big fan of Robben's, and talked to your daughter that the guitar sound on that was like a new high watermark for many of us. So I'm expecting some flavour of that. But as far as what it's going to feel like, I have no clue. I know people who've played Dumbles, and I know Mick's played a couple, I think, and yeah, the experiences, as far as I know, is going to be like visceral, but I've got no clue. I've got no clue what to expect.
Hello, I'm Mick Taylor, and I'm the other half of That Pedal Show. I've definitely played 2, maybe 3, and 2 of those don't really count because they were at a guitar show, a bit like Jake said. So you can't really get an idea. I have spent some extended time with the one that was featured in Guitarist magazine some years back. Having played that 112 combo some years ago, a lot of the preconceptions I had were really put aside by that amp, and maybe we'll explore some of that today. But like Dan, like Charlie, and like Jake, I'm a big fan of Robben, and I've listened to him down the years. So I'm hoping some of that quality comes through. All the things that people say about Dumble amps, let's see if they come to fruition. Makes you sound more like you, incredible clarity, all of that stuff. I don't really know what any of that means without plugging in and seeing what's what. So, well, I don't know. Let's get to it. Yeah, man. This is not the worst clean sound I've ever heard.
I can honestly say I've never experienced anything like that. Ever. I am shaking. Just do that. Just do that.
Let's go turn the wet stuff off for a second. We'll turn it on while you're playing. But
Right, mate.
you tell me, right? So I'm going to turn the master down a bit.
Position.
That's my hands.
I am as well.
Keep going, man.
Well, it's already way softer.
Do you like that less or more?
think someone else needs to play it.
It's just the clean channel.
Oh, shit, I know.
It's
I'm
just
going
the
all
clean
clammy
channel.
though.
I'm going on clammy just watching you play it.
Did you have a hit,
Yeah,
Charlie?
I'll play it. I need to go get a pick from the other room. but-
Yeah, no worries, man.
Does it feel quite a bit punchy for me?
So-
I don't know. Maybe a little bit softer.
Let's see if we can do that. So that was pretty much the full gamut of the clean channel. And we ended up with the master really cranked and the clean down low.
Okay.
But then when it was overdriving a bit more, I had this deep switch in and the gain cranked and the master down. And anyway, we'll save that. We'll save that.
That's... I'm done. Don't make me play it anymore.
Stop playing for me.
That is pretty deafy, isn't it?
It's terrifying to play, but like so inspiring.
It's insane.
Ridiculous.
Right, hold your thoughts then, boys. Does anyone want to do anything before we
down, Sally.
before we quit? Yeah.
Red. For the Overdrive channel.
Play red, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, we tried not to talk too much because we wanted to save it for the camera. If you can even remember what your expectations were at the beginning of the video, Jake, how did they differ or were they the same?
Slightly different, but definitely as responsive as I expected it to be. Yeah.
Anyone disappointed?
No. No. So,
Charlie?
Maybe myself, you know. It was as revealing as I thought it was. Actually, it was more revealing than I thought it was going to be, I think. I think that's what I said at the start, isn't it? Something like that.
yeah, that's the thing loads of people say about it, right? That it's really revealing. And it keeps you honest. Like, the thing is, if you're having a really good day, everyone's going to know you're having a really good day. But if you're having a crap day, everyone's going to know. So there's nowhere to hide. And that's, normally, the clean channel, best clean I've ever played through ever. I was shaking when I got off.
He genuinely was. Dan played first today, and when he finished playing, he was genuinely shaking.
I was just so moved.
Yeah.
The Overdrive channel is astonishing, but I've never played an Overdrive sound before where it didn't feel compressed. And that every detail of everything is there. So normally with Overdrive, you can be a bit sloppy and you can get away with murder. You can get away with nothing with that.
Yeah. I think as you and I in particular found out.
Yeah, for sure.
I found it was sort of somewhere actually between the two of that. So it feels like everything that you play on the Overdrive channel sort of explodes off the fretboard. I did say that earlier on. But yet you can't get away with anything. It's sort of this weird, paradox almost that you're playing stuff and you think you could probably pull that off, but it comes out probably the way you play it and it doesn't,
When I slipped up is when I thought I was playing and I was sort of in a bit of a flow, and then I thought, I'll try something tricky here. And it just goes, nope.
Not today.
Not today.
Yeah,
Go back to being simple. Well, okay.
I was caught in that place of trying to listen to the amp and play the guitar, which is a very difficult place to be, because it's such a rare occurrence you want to hear it, which is why it was such a pleasure hearing you guys play it, because we got to experience it on a bunch of different guitars. I was up and down to the amp, which I hope you saw, trying to change the controls a little bit. We tried to do the sort of full gamut of gain, if you like, in the clean channel and also in the overdrive channel. But I don't know if you guys will agree that just the touch of the thing, so you could go from it not overdriving very much to really, and yet tons of overdrive and yet still ultimate clarity of note. And
that's the dichotomy. That sort of was weird.
And I wonder, maybe we could reflect on this, how possible it is to divorce ourselves from A, the fact that it's Robben's amp, and B, everything everyone's ever told us about Dumble amps, because to me they all seem to be true today.
But why would you want to divorce yourself from it?
To get rid of the bias. To get rid of the fact
I don't know.
you're just
I don't
telling
think it's
yourself.
possible. Because, you know, you walk in, it's Robben's Dumble. It's like, and there's no, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to sit down and like, it's just a Hot Rod Deluxe. It's just a Hot Rod Deluxe. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like, there's just no way.
Let me put it another way then. Jake, have you ever played an amp like it?
No, because even the other one that I spent quite a bit of time with was just massively, massively different and way more compressed in terms of how it felt to play. Whereas that was like, in terms of your right hand and your, you know, your dynamics and your control over your picking, like all of it mattered.
Yeah.
Well, it's terrifying to play, to be honest.
Yeah.
And as we said, like, I think Charlie said, like, he was getting clammy just watching me play it. And I'm still the same. And it's just like, I don't know, you play something like that and it's so revealing, but it's also so expressive and so, I don't know, it's just like nothing I've ever played, to be honest.
I thought everyone had moments.
Yeah.
There was moments where everyone was really connected and flowing. And I mean, I've never experienced anything like that. And we've had some wicked guitar sounds in here. This is a different thing. It's a different, there's elements of lots of stuff that we recognize, but it's definitely its own thing.
I would agree. It's in a different world.
Yeah.
Loads of questions spur from that. How much of it is the speaker cabinet? You know, you could get forensic about it, but I don't think that changes that experience. Collectively, we've played a lot of guitars and amps, and yet I think each one of us is like, wow, that is actually different.
Yeah.
That is something I haven't experienced before.
Yeah.
And you can hear, what I love about it is that every now and again you hear Robben, because you hear that clarity of the note that we know from...
Mostly when Charlie was playing it.
Well, of course. I think we're going to gloss over that, aren't we? Break his fingers on the way out. Yeah. Any concluding thoughts?
I think I was actually listening to this amp on the drive here today. I was listening to the Rock Palace live thing, and I was trying to sort of think like if I could put into words what it sounds like. Certainly that overdrive thing, because the clean thing, it is the best clean sound I've ever heard. It's really
just so
really punchy, really dynamic, super clear. All the words, all the superlatives, I suppose. But the overdrive channel is the most sort of together sounding overdrive channel or overdrive sound, I've ever heard, even, from pedals or whatever. It kind of sounds like there's almost like a, some amps you hear like a prominent kind of mid scoop or like a mid push or whatever, and you can kind of almost, you could almost see the frequencies or see the frequencies coming out of the amp. This almost seems like it's got a glue between all of the lows, mids, trebles, that kind of thing, where it just kind of pulls it all together. It's super focused. It's really, very direct. And that kind of, I guess, brings us back to what I was saying, what we've all been saying about it. It just speaks the way of what you're putting into it. It comes straight out of it.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was sat in the corner, and I was the amp wasn't coming from there. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've heard people describe things as 3D, and I've heard guitar sounds that I thought were 3D. This was a 3D on a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It was literally, coming from everywhere. It's just outrageous.
So as a kind of final question then, does it none of us are going to go out and buy a Dumble tomorrow, but does it give you the kind of feels for wanting to change something in your own rig or style, or you like, nah, not for me?
I think for me, I guess we're very similar to Charlie. We both play, pretty loud, clean amps anyway. The thing for me, if anything, that it's made me want to work on is my playing.
Interesting.
And that's not to say that I'm not sort of happy with how I play, but it's just that is so revealing that every little nuance that...
It says a lot about Robben, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. And so, like, he's been playing that amp for over 40 years now.
Yeah.
But it's rare that I could point to a piece of gear that say, play this and it will make you a better player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That would.
Sorry, my finger's going around this way. But it's like, whatever it is, and they're all, everything's great. But when you were saying that sonically, separating the sonics of it with what it takes to get the sound out of it, you know what I mean? What you've got to bring to the party to make it sound that good. It's like, actually, if you can wrestle this thing to the ground, it will actually make you a better player.
Yeah.
The difference between putting your finger here or here, the pick here or here, it's like, it's right there. Amazing.
For me anyway, it does seem to do a great deal of work for you. So maybe you can relax a little bit, because it's almost a paradox where you say every mistake you make is going to be amplified. Well, I think part of that is down to the fact maybe we're used to playing at quieter volumes or maybe less responsive amps, and you're used to having to kind of
work hard
to get sound out. But actually that you can let it do a lot of the work.
Lean on it.
I don't know. I reckon it would take me forever to be able to really play it.
But what a nice thing to a journey to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, after playing that clean, I'm now going to, and I know that loads of people make Dumble type things. I'm the back of my mind, ever since I've been playing the TS1, I've been going, maybe this is a thing. After playing this, is like, that's it. I've got to find that clean tone somewhere.
For those of you who may be watching saying, oh, I wish you'd compared it with a TS1 or a digital sim or something like that, we don't really feel like that's in the spirit of the respect this amp deserves and the reverence we have for Robben. So it's not necessarily about that. It was more a plug and play and what do you feel?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Charlie's jumped in the car and driven up from London.
Yeah.
And it's, at very short notice. That's been amazing. Yeah, really appreciate it.
And we're so glad you did. And Jake, likewise, thanks for coming up, buddy.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah, it's really great. And perhaps overall, thank you so much to Robben for allowing us to do this and trusting us with this flipping genre-defining amplifier.
Incredible.
So, yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers.
Yeah, all the
stuff.
Things are in. Just click the description down. All the info's there. Don't sell your house and buy a Dumble. Or maybe
unless you've got a spare house.
Or maybe do.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. See you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.